Hello, everyone. Welcome to another series on Happy Family Ministries. And today we're going to be treating submission. Yes, submission, a very controversial topic that has lasted, let me say, for centuries now, from the part of women and from men. And men like asking, why are you so stubborn? Why are you not
difficult to submit?
to submit? Yes, men, why do people like talking about that? Why do people like asking us? Okay, we'll find out.
All right,
You
so we'll be starting with the definition of submission,
Yeah.
and it's quite explicit and it's simple. It's the willingness to accept or yield to the authority of somebody or of someone else. So that willingness to yield or accept the authority of someone else. Meaning, if it is not willing, it is not submission. It has to be willingly. And it also means that submission should not be demanded for, because it now borders on the person to willingly yield or accept the authority of somebody.
Yeah.
So that's basically the definition of submission. Now, from the biblical standpoint, in Ephesians 5, verse 22, it was clearly stated there, wives, submit to your husbands as unto the Lord. So for me, I see it more like an instruction. I see it like um, God giving an instruction, and we can even call it a commandment. Wives, submit. So it is expected that women should submit to their husbands as unto the Lord. And what this means is that if we say we are Christians and we submit to God, then we cannot claim to submit to God and not submit to man, submit to our husbands. So, and this is why the Bible said, wives, submit to your husbands as unto the Lord. So, as you claim you submit to God, you love God so much, you should also submit to your husbands. And there's something I would quickly want to state here, that the issue of submission is not only on the part of women alone, it's also in the Bible. Yes, in Ephesians 5, verse 21, that talks about submitting to one another. So, meaning a man as well should also submit to his wife, and his wife should also submit to him.
Okay.
Understand, right?
Yes. But they might want to ask, like, how should a man submit
Okay,
to his wife? Yes. Is the man not supposed to be in authority?
In authority, right? Actually, men should submit, in the sense that even if you are the head of the family, that doesn't mean that you know it all. There are times you want to take some decisions. You need to seek consent from your wife or seek her advice. That's also a form of what? Submission. So let's not just feel that it's only like the women that should always submit.
Yes.
Men as well should submit. Yes, it is clearly stated in the Bible that wives, submit to your husbands. Then husbands, love your wife. So God gave women the responsibility of submission and gave men the responsibility to love. But also we have to submit unto one another. I would quickly want to ask a question, because each time we talk about submission, you find out that it doesn't always go well with the women. And I would like to know, why do women find it so difficult to submit?
Do we really find it difficult to submit now, or or men like seeing us like being stubborn? We don't like submitting.
Actually, if you stubborn like that, it's okay.
Because the truth of the whole matter is this: I've heard men saying women, as far as that, we don't like submitting and that we are stubborn. I don't know why, but from my own point of view, I would like to state some aspect which I feel
Yes, you
makes it,
feel
yeah, difficult,
difficult
yes,
for
for
women to
women
submit,
to
right?
submit.
Okay.
Yes. So number one is no understanding of the concept of submission.
Mm.
Yes. So your definition of a concept affects your perspective about the concept.
Mm.
Submission is not subjugation,
Mm.
and submission is not slavery.
Slavery.
Yes. So your what you have in your mind,
In
what
your
you've told
mind,
yourself over the years of what submission
submission is
truly is, yes, then
Mm.
it determines how you're going to react,
react
how
to
you're going
that.
to behave in
Yes.
that line of what submission is. So when you have a proper understanding of what submission is, that submission isn't slavery.
Mm.
Submission is a call. It's a call to respect.
And that willingness.
Yes. And that willingness to do it.
Nice. Yes.
Now, where submission is beautiful is this, is that you have every right
Yes, to choose not to
to
submit,
choose
right?
not to submit, yes, to do
Mm.
what you want to
What
do.
you want to
For
do.
example, you are an adult,
Mm.
a grown-up,
Mm.
you want to go out. There's every tendency, as long as you're not going to a bad place, so to say, there's every tendency for you to just stand up, dress up, and I'm coming, and you just go out without telling anybody
Yes.
where you're going to or
Yes.
something. It's just an instance, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, but submitting to authority now, even your parents, submitting to them, for example, you can't just stand up and leave the house without telling them where you're going to, even if you're 30 years of age and
Yes,
above, or
yes,
whatever
yes.
age. Even if you are a mom with children,
With children.
and your parents are like grandparents now,
Mm.
you find out you are going out,
There's still some
there's
certain
some
level of
level,
authority.
yes. You can't
That's
just stand
true.
up and just say
That's true.
you're going
This
on
is what
this
I
thing.
want to do, and just like that. And
You're like, oh, mom, I'm coming, dad, I'm coming. Let me just pick something from the mall. Even when you have gotten your own house, your own home, you
Freedom
owe no one freedom, you owe no one
independence in
no,
quotes.
yes, no explanation.
Mm.
So that is what it means in
Actually,
marriage
okay.
and to your spouse.
Okay.
That you are just readily, willingly, you're just say, okay, this is what I want to do. And now this is where it comes in, where your spouse is telling you not to do something, for example, or you need to seek his counsel, just like you said in the definition, advice or something, before you go into that thing. That is where submission comes in. And then it is beautiful, the fact that you don't want to really, how will I put it, you have every right not to submit,
Not to submit, but you choose
to submit.
I think that's very key because it's lack of understanding that makes many ladies to rebel towards submission. A lot of persons feel submission is subjugation or slavery. Now, a slave does not have a choice, right? A slave, but not in submission. You have the choice, the freedom to choose not to submit, but you willingly yield that authority to to like um uh, um to someone else. So it's a willing thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So without wasting further more time, we'll move to the next aspect of why we women, speaking for people now, why I feel that women find it difficult to submit, actually. Lack of love by men. Yep, I said so. Yeah, so when a man unconditionally loves his wife, she will unconditionally submit. It's tested and trusted, actually. And then you can never get a woman to submit to you by coercion and by love. Now let me explain this first point I said by a practical example.
But by love.
Okay, but by love. Yes. Let me explain this first point to you by practical example. Now, when a man is doing what he's supposed to do to his wife, his duties to his wife, diligently doing it, and doing it in love, out of love, there's something that happens. I don't know for everybody now, but for me, for example, like when I got married to my husband, I'm not saying I was not respecting him or all of that, but due to everything that we had gone through in the marriage and I've seen him do for me and for the family and all of that, just like that, I just started adding sir to him. He didn't ask me to add sir to him, and I didn't at any point. I didn't say I was not respecting, but while we're cutting, we would just call ourselves pet names and all of that, and we'll just play around and all of that. But that's now I understand why our mothers call our fathers daddy in
Even
some
Sarah
scenarios.
called Abraham Lord.
My lord,
My
yes,
Lord.
very true, yes. So if these things are born out of, you might not really understand now and say, like one day I went to shopping mall to get something, even before I got married, and a woman was calling her husband, daddy, something like that, in a conversation. I was like, she was talking to another woman, I was like, daddy will not agree, or something like that, daddy though. And the woman said, why are you calling your husband daddy? Is he your daddy? If you want to see your father, you don't know where your father is, stuff, something like that. But these things are born out of years of being together and respect, actually. There's a philosophy my husband used to teach that says something like, when a father hands over a child to hand over his daughter to a groom, is to transferring responsibilities of that office, the fatherhood, now to the husband, and the husband is supposed to be like a father to the wife now, so to say. And then that's why over time she calls him daddy, and he calls her baby. It's just an analogy, a philosophy. Yes. So these things you can really understand them when you are married and you have really seen it, for those who have really studied marriage. So you just find yourself respecting the man, respecting your husband. He didn't ask you for it, but it's a sign of respect. Do you have anything to add to that?
So we're actually getting to know some things now as men. So if you're a man listening to this now, what this means is that show your wife love, practical love, genuinely love. The Bible says, husband, love your wife as what Christ loves it and gave himself up for her. So have you loved your wife to that point where you can give yourself up? To give yourself means death. So if you can get to that point, I believe she will submit to you willingly.
Definitely. Yes, and this second part, that you can never get a woman to submit by coercion, but by love, is very, very, very true and very key. Most times, why men beat their wives, why men tend to shout on their wives and shout down on them and try to trample on their destinies and ensure that, okay, they don't go to school, they don't go to work, you want to keep her in the house, you are frustrating her business, just trying to frustrate her and ensure that she's not someone, is out of fear. It is not out of love. Because the truth is that when you show a woman love, she naturally, without struggle, submits to you.
Without struggle.
You can tell her, I don't want you to go to this place, sit down. And this is why I don't want you to go to this place. Because I feel like there's no need of you going to this place. And I need you to do this or do that. That is why I don't want you to be at this place at this particular time.
That's right.
She reasons it that, okay, this man, he has never done anything bad to me. Everything that he has done for me is for my good and for the family, for the good of the family. So if he's saying this, then there's a point in it for me to stay and sit, actually, and then she goes back to sit down. But you telling her, after you've tried to trample on every right of her, going out, you are, due to your insecurities, you are monitoring her, you have a CCTV camera on her, you are just doing this and doing that, and then you expect her, when you tell her sit down, there's every tendency for people to rebel at a particular reaction that they get. What does the Bible say? Say a cold answer. I've forgotten how it puts it now.
A
soft answer turns away wrath. Now, imagine this scenario. For example, I tell my husband, or I tell my kids now, don't touch that thing. For toddlers, they look at you and they touch it. They want to see what you want to do, what you're going to do about that. But when you tell somebody, baby girl, come, I don't want you to touch that thing because it's going to hurt you. When you touch a hot iron, it's going to burn you. The child, it sinks deep. Mommy said I'm not supposed to touch a hot iron. Why? Because it's going to burn me. But when you say don't touch that thing, out of that reaction, well, for everything you say, you get the reaction of that just want to react and just become stubborn
in
humans now.
Generally.
So that is why women behave like that. When you shout at her, bring that food here.
So harsh at her.
She said, I'm not bringing it. Do your worst.
No love.
Do you understand? So are you guys beginning to see why
Why
these
it's
things are the
because
way they
yes,
are.
yes.
You shout on her, wash my clothes. I'm not washing your clothes. Do you get it?
Mm.
But when you say, honey, please, could you help me do my laundry? I'll be out today and I don't have time to do my laundry. Oh, with all pleasure.
Without pleasure.
So, are we understanding these things?
Mm.
Yes. So, we go on to our next point, family background.
Family background.
Yes, the background a woman is coming from has the power to affect her understanding of the concept of submission. Would you like to throw
Yes,
more
yes,
light on
yes,
that?
yes. What this actually means is where you actually grew up can affect your concepts and your ideologies about submission.
Yeah.
Now, a good instance is a lady who grew up where she saw her father maltreating her mother, beating her, will unconsciously make some kind of
Decisions.
decisions
Yeah.
and vows that I will never let any man treat me this way. And it will begin to cause her to act in a very violent way towards her own future husband.
Husband, yeah.
Now, the future husband did not know what
What
she
she, yeah,
experienced
experiences,
while
yeah.
like growing
She's
up,
behaving like that, yeah.
and you now begin to see her begin to display some kind of attitude. Now it's as a result of background. It's as a result of background. Now she may not have deliberately picked it up, but unconsciously she saw it and she hated it. But just one way or the other, she adopted that behavior, and she will now be reacting to her husband, and she will find it hard to submit to him. Why? She's thinking of what her mom suffered. You see that, right?
Yes.
So I think that's what
Family background,
yes,
yes.
yes, family background
Yeah.
could do.
Okay, just to this point just popped up now in my
Okay.
spirit, and I just want to say it. Now, men, the success of your wife is not a threat to you.
Hmm. It's true.
For the fact that your wife is successful
Hmm.
and she's gaining grounds and
Hmm.
doing this and
Hmm.
doing that shouldn't be a threat to you at all. A real
And
man, a good man, a
is
strong man
happy
supports
at the
and is happiest.
success,
Why?
the
Because
success of
when
his
she
wife.
succeeds, as what
He's succeeding
part
as well.
definitely
Hmm?
partner. What does partner mean? She succeeds, you are the one succeeding.
Yes.
He succeeds, I am the one succeeding.
Yes.
That's what partner. That's what doing things. That's what it takes.
And I
That's
would say
what
it's
it
the two
means.
shall become one flesh. So don't have that mentality
Mentality.
that like she's
It's a,
different
it now
from
be a
me or a
competition.
competition. No, you two are now one. You must work together to achieve your goals together.
Yes, 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 yes.
Um,
Okay.
um, and another aspect of the family background is now a lady who grew up seeing her mom maltreating her dad will also think that that is the right thing. Understand, right? She saw her own mother maltreating her dad, not being submissive to him. She will unconsciously pick up that kind of um
Nature.
yes, and she will transfer it to her own home tomorrow
Yeah.
and begin to treat her own husband that same way. You see that, right? So and one of the ways that one could um I don't got this place
No.
that.
Yes. So this is one of the another way is
Mm,
what they pick from their neighbors.
can
It might
also
not
form.
necessarily have happened to you directly now, but indirectly. Human beings are formed by the experiences
Yes,
over the years.
over the
That is
years.
what forms a true human being. And that is what forms our perspective, our notion, and every other thing. Every other thing you see a person become in life is just Jara, just an addition.
It's
But
true.
majorly is their experiences that
Experiences.
that makes you make some decision. You understand?
Yes.
Experiences give birth to thoughts. You
Mm,
start thinking about that thing.
mm,
Thoughts gives birth to decision. You now take a stand, take a
mm,
decision and said, I'm not going to be this to my husband.
mm.
I'm not going to be that to my husband. A woman is supposed to be equal and all of that, all of that. So before moving further, a point just dropped
Mm.
in my heart now, in my spirit now. Pause, please.
Okay. No.
Yes. Another a point just dropped in my spirit now,
Okay.
and it's there's something we call in psychology verbal abuse.
Okay.
Verbal abuse is not, most times when there's a fight for equality, gender-based violence, and all of those things, the society misses out something. They miss out something,
Okay.
which is verbal abuse. Women might not have power physically,
Yes.
but their mouth,
It's true.
they've used it to bastardize their husbands.
Baba
They've
power.
used it to pull down their children. You understand? So what you say, women
They are blessed with Baba power. Ah, I swear. God will help us.
yes, a certain speaker of recent was telling us something. It was just preaching. I was speaking. I was telling us something that women, our airtime battery on the is like 18,000 in the. There's a way you define that, and I don't know. Psychologists, you should know. Why men is about 13,000 in their head. Their speech, something about speech and all of that. So a man wakes up in the morning and he doesn't even want to talk. The battery he used yesterday night is still it's just remaining small. You know when you the airtime, the call card he used yesterday is remaining like, and he went ahead to say that, when you have like 5 naira in your phone, you know how you make the call.
Yes.
Hello, please help me do this.
Yes.
Okay, bye, thank you, good morning, all of that. But when you have 1,000 naira airtime in your phone,
you feel so relaxed and you keep talking and talking. It's okay.
yeah, so that's just it. So this takes us to our next point: personality and character traits. Yes. So a certain Tom Lai wrote about
Tim
temperament. Tim Lai, thank you, wrote about temperament, why we act the way we do, and temperament is actually the reason why you smile.
Go ahead.
Temperament is actually the reason why some of us behave the way we do. Yes, and we have the sanguine, the choleric, melancholy,
Yes.
and phlegmatic. Yes, so these temperaments were written not for you to just know your temperament
And just hold on to
and
it.
just hold
That
on
this
to
is me.
this is me. Say, I'm looking forward to marry. Say, what's the temperament? Say, what's the temperament? Okay, we can match.
You can match.
That is not why it was written. It was written for you to know your strong points and your weak points, and not for you to work on yourself.
That's right.
And it was also written for you to have a prayer point to pray for yourself. So you don't just know your temperament and say, okay, this is my temperament. What are you doing? Knowledge. My husband says, knowledge is, I think, the application of information. There's a way it says that
Wisdom is the application of
wisdom
knowledge.
is the application of knowledge after you have gotten information. Yes. So when you have an information, what do you do with it? That is what matters a lot.
That's right.
The way you process it, the way you're able to run a scan on yourself, just like a computer processing unit, the way you're able to run a scan on yourself and say that, okay, this is my weak point, this is my strong point. Okay, is this why I behave the way I behave? Okay, I shouldn't feel bad about the things I used to do. I do them no more. I don't want to do this thing, but I find out that I am doing it. I'm still doing it. Yes. So this is so that you can work on it and ask the Holy Spirit to help you. There's a link. I don't know if we still have that temperament link that we ran, I think, a month ago or something like that. If we have it, we might put it in the description box below for you to just run a test on yourself and know your temperament. Know that thing has strong points, weak points, and have a prayer point for yourself. Yeah. So that's it. Now another aspect is being misled by social media role models and celebrities. Do you want to take that?
Okay.
Feminism. So
Actually, a lot of persons have been misled, and it's so sad. It's actually coming from people they feel are their role.
models.
Yeah, and you like you see them just holding on to the thoughts or ideologies of these people. Now, but the question you would ask yourself is that these people who are actually acting as role
Models.
yes to you, how is their own marriage? some of them are not having the best of marriages
Or life, Seth.
or life,
How is
right?
their life?
How is their life
They just bash at people, just insult
and things
people.
like that. So we have to be very careful. I personally believe that why some ladies find it so difficult to submit is because of what they have heard or seen from the lives
Celebrities.
of celebrities who just make them feel that don't let any man trample on you. You are not a slave. You are a boss lady. You are that. You are that. But the question is, the few of them who actually have peaceful homes, they will go back home and submit to their husbands unknowingly to you out there who who is just there saying I will not submit. Why? Because so and so said we should not submit. So we must be very careful how we follow these so-called celebrities and don't let them mislead you. The Bible is explicit. Why submit to your husband to your husband, and husbands
Love
love
your
your
wife.
wife. If we all follow these principles, we will have happy homes and happy marriages. One thing that we don't always ask ourselves is, these so-called people, are their marriages working? No. You find you see them just having a whole lot of things, but we still choose to still see them as role models. It is wrong. You must learn to, if you must even have a role model, let it be a godly role model. Look up to the Bible and know what the Bible says about submission and follow it squarely, and you will just see yourself having a peaceful marriage.
Yes. So feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the ground of the equality of sexes. Now, these role models and social media celebrities and all that have devised a way of pushing it to
Of
us,
peddling that word.
that thing of
I just got the
feminism, feminism,
feminism, feminism,
feminism,
feminism.
and making women antagonistic
Yes, it
towards
was
men.
very true.
They just feel that no man can trample on them, no man can talk down on them, no man can do this. But one thing you don't know, I saw a social media post, and I was sharing my husband some time back that a certain celebrity asked that in her 50 so and so years of being married, that what she has discovered one thing, one word that men want. That what do these people that what do people now think that this word is? People were commenting all manner of things. Young people who were not married, for example, were commenting, a man wants love, he wants sex, he wants this, he wants that, he wants good food. But it will shock you, the married people in the comment section were commenting respect, 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 respect. So don't let anybody drive nothing into your head, and you go into marriage with a wrong ideology. Go into marriage with fighting spirit. You want to fight your
Want to
husband.
fight your husband.
You are always
Just to quarrel,
and
just
to count. My husband say counter something nature. Call it
cantankerous.
cantankerous nature. He always say what cantankerous something like that. Yeah. So don't always have that defensive nature. So difficult. Nobody can break you. Nobody can talk to you. And you want why? You say you're a feminist and you want to go into
I don't
into
even know
marriage.
if they truly understand what
Feminism
feminism is.
is yes.
Now, the belief of feminism is this: is the belief in full social, economic, and political equality for women. It has nothing to do in the concept of marriage.
Marriage, yes.
It's, you find people who just keep peddling the word feminism and they have
Feminist,
no
feminist.
knowledge about what
They've
feminism
never
is.
even googled what feminism is.
So it's good for us to have a good understanding of the concept. Feminism has nothing to do with marriage. It
Or
is
fighting a man or being
yes,
antagonistic
it's
towards
only
a
saying
male.
that women should have
Equal right to go
equal
to
right
school,
to go to school, to have their
to have
money,
yes,
to be in
to go
politics,
out, to be in sports
and yes.
and all of that. Because
So
we took sorry there.
yes, go ahead.
We took a versatile study on this feminism before coming out here to talk to you. And One of the
Yes.
things that we discovered personally is that the word feminism was coined. You know, in those days, how they say that women, the girl child is not supposed to go to
Yes. Go to
school,
school.
and so a man should come and marry her from the village and let them use
Mm.
that bride price money to train her brother so that he becomes one. Because then
Yes.
they felt the female child, the girl child, wasn't supposed to amount to anything, that she was just objectified to
Mm.
be an instrument of being in the kitchen, being an object in the
Mm.
bedroom, taking care of the children. Those days, women don't even go to work.
That's true.
But all those things, they have really succeeded in women rights activism. No, that they've succeeded in bringing the girl child to an equal right for her to be in the same classroom as a boy, to go to school, and then in the workspace for her to have some office, to hold some offices, some
Yes.
positions.
Some positions. That's just even
That is
the real
what it
concept of
is.
feminism.
It is not, hey, you can't talk to
Go
me.
to fight your husband, or
I'm a
I have.
feminist, and you're
No.
going to marry to that
No.
ideology. Please, it's a very, very wrong mentality.
Yes. Now, I really want to state it clearly that if you are truly a child of God, you should not uphold the theory of feminism in marriage. Now, feminism is a secular theory, but submission is a biblical principle. So, if you are truly a child of God, you cannot bring
Principle of the
the
world, secular.
of the world to the church in quotes. So, if you believe in feminism, fine, but do not bring it to your marriage. Why? Because in marriage, it is explicit in Ephesians 5, verse 22, wives submit, and that is how to have a peaceful marriage.
Yes, and then the last point on feminism is that society varies from individual, you understand, versus society versus individual. Feminism is society versus individual. That is the people in the human rights activist space fighting for individuals, the girl child now, to go to school. And it is not husband versus wife. Get this straight.
That's
So
clear.
that is it. Yes. So
Okay, before we proceed to how one can be submissive, um, I I also feel that one of the reasons why it's difficult for ladies to submit is the attainment of some kind of, should I say, financial status or educational status. Meaning, when a woman goes to school to a point that she's now, okay, let's say a PhD holder or a professor, she feels like she's above her husband. Now, I want to state something that will shock you. Even if your husband did not go to school and you are a professor, you must submit to your husband. You see that, right? It becomes very difficult. It's now a high demand. Yes, that is now. If you can recall very well, in the case of Esther in the Bible, okay, no, Queen Vashti. Now, Queen Vashti lost her position. Why? Because the husband, the king, requested her to come, and she said she was busy, that she was not coming. That is total disrespect, no submission, and she lost her
position.
of being a queen. That is what happens when you do not submit. You will lose your marriage. Don't listen to people who just try to deceive. Oh, come on, you are. He went to school. I also went to school. He has money. I have money. Yes, I have money. That's not what the Bible says. The Bible says wives submit, and that is just the way to have a peaceful marriage.
Sorry, just to add to that
Yeah.
before we move further. Now, for a marriage to work, the truth of the whole matter, for a marriage to work, you must carry out Ephesians 5. That says what a woman should submit and a husband should love. That is just the summary of a marriage working.
A peaceful
The
marriage.
woman is submitting and the
The man
husband
is
is
loving as Christ loves the church.
That's it, yeah. So how to submit? How that even leads us, usher us now
Yes, yes.
to
How to be submissive.
Yes, or ways to submit.
Okay. So, one of the ways I will personally state here is to drop every wrong perception you have about certain matter and be ready to learn and be teachable. And what this means is that, for me, it actually means submit your life to the Holy Spirit. Of the truth, it is difficult for the human nature, because you just begin to ponder, I have everything, so why should I submit my life to this man? Why? So if you are finding it so difficult, ask God to help you. Because I personally feel that we can't claim to be a Christian where we say we are submitting to the authority of God, and we cannot and we find it so hard to submit to our husbands. So if you are finding it so hard, ask God, pray to God, tell him to help you, to empower you, to give you the grace, to make you understand the concept of submission, and he will definitely help you.
Sorry, just to add to a point that